If you're struggling with weight issues, blood sugar issues, and cravings, you've been told that your thyroid levels have been optimized and maybe you need a GLP-1 drug, this Thyroid Thursday episode is for you. I'm Dr. Eric Balcavage, and welcome to Thyroid Thursday. These are short videos, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, where I try to give you some sciencey information so you can understand your physiology better and maybe why some of the treatments that you've been provided aren't working. I had a recent comment come in. Somebody said, "Hey, my labs have been optimized. My meds have been optimized. My thyroid values have been optimized with T4 and T3, but I'm struggling to lose weight. I'm still glucose resistant, or insulin resistant is how they term it. And my doctor recommended a GLP-1 agonist drug. What's your thought?" Well, my thought is that even though somebody manipulated your labs, you have not had your thyroid physiology optimized. And this is a common myth, that if we just manipulate the T4 or T3 or TSH or reverse T3 with medication into somebody's optimal range, then their thyroid physiology is fixed. But that's never the case, okay? Or rarely the case. So what's going on? If you have glucose resistance, if you have weight resistance, your inability to lose weight, if you're still tired, if you're still fatigued, and somebody's told you you've been optimized, and maybe you just need to try a GLP-1 drug, you haven't been optimized at all. So what I want to do in today's Thyroid Thursday is explain to you how a truly optimal T3 level in your GI tract would impact GLP-1, weight, blood sugar physiology, etc. Okay? So when you have appropriate levels of T3 inside your cells, which is different than somebody giving you T3 and raising your blood levels. What's in the blood doesn't always correlate to what's inside the cells and tissues evenly throughout the body. And we typically operate in one of two states: homeostasis, which is a low stress state where the body favors the conversion of T4 to T3 and a higher level of T3 inside the cells and tissues, and a allostatic state, which is a stress state or a pro-inflammatory state. And in that state, the body prefers to reduce the conversion of T4 to T3, increase the deactivation of T4 to reverse T3, and sometimes even results in thyroiditis and downregulation of the thyroid gland itself. But if this person had truly had their T3 optimized, meaning the doctor provided hormone and their physiology shifted from allostatic regulation back into homeostatic regulation, the T3 in that cell that's in homeostatic function and these L cells in the GI tract would actually, the T3 would boost the mitochondrial function of those intestinal L cells, and they'd be able to make more cellular energy, which would drive more GLP production. That's probably not occurring. The T3 also, if they had optimal levels of T3 inside those intestinal L cells, the T3 would drive the genes to produce more GLP-1, because T3 in the nucleus helps drive the production, the genetic expression and the production of GLP-1. That's probably not happening. T3 optimizes GI motility and nutrient delivery. So when we have better motility and better micronutrients coming into the cells, this enhances the L cell stimulation, the cells that actually make GLP-1, and increases this GLP-1 production and response. Number 4, when we have appropriate T3 inside the intestinal L cells, it improves nutrient sensing and absorption, which again enhances GLP responsiveness. Number 5, we see when we have appropriate levels of T3 inside the cell, that elevated levels of T3 in the system and in the intestinal cells enhances your vagal tone. It's the vagus nerve, your parasympathetic nervous system. It improves neuroendocrine signaling, meaning that we get signals to brain, and brain then amplifies GLP-1 release and systemic signaling via GLP-1. The last thing is, when we have appropriate levels of T3, it increases the GLP-1 receptor expression. That means I've got more of these GLP-1 receptors. GLP-1 is the hormone. It's got to bind to receptor to function, to do what it needs to do. When you have appropriate or optimal levels of T3 inside the cells, you have more of these receptors for the GLP-1 to bind to, and you get more function out of it. So if this person had truly had their thyroid labs optimized or had their thyroid physiology optimized, they wouldn't have blood glucose regulation issues. They wouldn't be storing more calories as fat. Their metabolism would be upregulated throughout the body, not just in the intestinal cells, and their GLP-1 signaling would be better. So if that physician said, everything is optimized, let's give you a GLP-1 agonist, they should have plenty of GLP-1 if there's appropriate levels of T3 inside the cells, in the intestinal tract and in the body. But obviously, they manipulated the T3 in the bloodstream. It may have changed some signs and symptoms, but it clearly hasn't improved the person's metabolism if they're struggling with these issues. It clearly hasn't improved the T3 in peripheral tissues to make them more glucose responsive, and it clearly has not affected or improved their gut function, gut physiology, and GLP-1 production. So this is a person who's been told that their labs have been optimized, and really what those labs have been done has been manipulated. This is a person who's probably not in homeostasis. They're in allostatic regulation, and putting more thyroid hormone into a system that didn't want it in the first place doesn't make the system work better. It actually creates more challenges and problems over time, and probably going to cause more gut dysfunction, more gut disruption, because what's going to happen many times in this model is you load this person with more T3 to optimize it into some physician's preferred range. If you're still in fight or flight response, if you're still in cell danger, that T3 can further upregulate your sympathetic nervous system, increase the fight or flight response, increase the inflammatory response, increase anxiousness, increase anxiety, down-regulate your parasympathetic nervous system, so stomach acid production goes down, gut motility goes down, all the digestive enzyme production goes down, and the gut hormones go down, including GLP-1. This is a person who hasn't been optimized. If you're in this situation, somebody's told you your labs are optimized, but you're still struggling with chronic hypothyroid signs and symptoms, slow metabolism, weight gain, glucose resistance, and somebody's telling you you need to go on a GLP-1 agonist, stop the nonsense, DM me discovery in my Instagram, and we'll send you a link. You can schedule a complimentary discovery call, and we'll talk about what we can do to help you. All right? Hope this helps.